Oh, okay.
Do you want to save that for later? Or do you want to go into the update on the Packers situation?
Yeah, let's go into the update on the Packers situation because it's interesting. It's funny because I heard this quote and it was one of those where it's Aaron Rodgers like voicing his opinion in
This
a
was the Kenny
way
Mayne
that's
interview,
not.
by the way. That was the origin of this. That was actually a really good
Yeah,
interview.
it was a really good interview, and it was Kenny Mayne's last day on Sports Center, and it was hilarious because I just did you see the way he ended the interview?
Yeah, I did.
Just
I thought that was good.
basically telling Rodgers to like jokingly telling Rodgers to go f himself or
Yeah,
something
that was
like
because of
that.
crypto and everything. He's like, yeah, he told me all
Yeah,
this bad stuff, and now we're down 40%. Yeah, go f off, Aaron Rodgers. Go be gone.
yeah. And Aaron just died laughing because he just knew it's Kenny Mayne. But anyways, yeah, this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. So he basically talked about how it's not about the Jordan Love pick. It's basically about the overarching everything that they've been doing. It's essentially is what he's
Which is like
saying.
totally fair. That's like the best
Oh,
conversation ever.
100%. It's not. It's he's not wrong. I mean, the whole rest of they haven't picked a skilled player in the first round of the draft, like wide receiver or anything, in like 16 years, like 16 or 17 years.
Yeah.
Like, get somebody to help him out. And like, you lost Corey Lindsey, your best, one of the best offensive linemen that you had, your second best offensive lineman, and then you replaced him with a rookie, and you think that that's going to be better, like, or that's going to work out, like.
Packers fans still blame Rodgers. I can't
Yeah,
believe it. Yeah, I know. That's because they're
it's
spoiled and they
it's
haven't had
it's
a bad
yeah.
quarterback in 20 years.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I don't understand why. Well, I know, like for instance, me, I watched the Pat McAfee show, and on there they have he's a big Packers fan, and he just absolutely is just pissed at the team itself because he knows the team is basically just pissing Aaron Rodgers off, and that's what they've been doing. They've literally every single year the Packers go into the offseason going, okay, how can we improve our team? But how can we do it in a way to piss Aaron Rodgers off as much as possible?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so stupid. Like Matt LaFleur's there. There's the whole conversation with Matt about, there was all the rumors about like, oh, LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers hate each other. And then, they gained a respect for each other and then they played well with each other. And then literally the first draft Matt LaFleur he drafts Aaron Rodgers' replacement, a backup running back and a backup tight end who's going to play fullback a little bit. Like that's literally what they did the next year after going to the NFC Championship and losing because you can't stop the run. Instead, the Packers went, hey, we can't stop the run, and we almost made the Super Bowl because of that. You know what would help us? Getting a backup quarterback.
I mean, yeah, it's just amazing the number of times that they chose to just ignore their obvious gaps. I mean, like even in the past draft, I guess they kind of addressed it, but I just, I just could never believe how much they're trying to do something innovative, right? They're trying to do something different. Like, oh no, we know better than you. But like when they lost to the 49ers in the championship and got absolutely stomped on, they were like, oh, okay, your run defense sucks. Like you should definitely try to address that. And like, yeah, they didn't, it wasn't their number one concern, I know they drafted a couple of linemen, but it's just so strange to me. I don't understand how they operate. I think they just have been spoiled for so long that they haven't had to address the quarterback position that I, I don't know. The brain power is just not wasted somewhere else. It's inexplicable. I don't get it. Trade it up for a
Yeah.
quarterback. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. They traded up to get Jordan Love. That wasn't like you waited, he fell in your lap, it was too good to be true. You picked him. Like, no, the Packers literally actively traded up and was like, we're getting our guy. When you trade up to get a quarterback, you get your guy. That's not how like don't the Bears trading up to get Justin Fields. Why do you think we've talked so much about how Justin Fields might be the starter day one? The reason why is because when you trade up to get your a quarterback, he's your guy. That's it. That's your quarterback. So the fact that they traded up to him to get him is part of the problem. I mean, that's the ridiculousness of this whole thing is that they traded up to get Jordan Love. That's their guy, their replacement on a quarterback that has a 4-year contract already on the books. So even if you waited out Aaron Rodgers' entire contract, Jordan Love, you would have to pick up his 5th-year option and then hope that he produces well enough in 1 year as a starter in the NFL in order to sign him to a massive deal immediately after because you'd have to because the contract's up. So
Yeah.
it's just it didn't even make any sense. Like, and if Jordan Love is your guy, and like that's who you want moving forward, I would accept that if you didn't already have Aaron Rodgers. I've always said trading up to get your guy is okay. Like that's fine. Go get your guy if that's who you want. But the problem is when you have Aaron Rodgers on your roster, you don't need to trade up to go get your guy. Your
Yeah.
guy is sitting across the desk from you and asking you, for the love of all things holy, give me somebody other than Devontae Adams to throw the freaking ball to. Like I
Yeah.
don't, and everybody keeps talking about like, oh, MVS had such a great season. MVS is getting Aaron Rodgers throw the ball, or Aaron Rodgers is throwing the ball to MVS. So don't tell me that MVS is this great wide receiver and is doing it all and helping out and really is, he's a great deep threat and he's one of the best deep threat wide receivers in the league. No, he's not one of the best deep threat
He's a
wide receivers
product.
in the league. He can get open, yes, and he does have above average speed, but he gets a lot of great balls thrown to him because he's got Aaron freaking Rodgers throwing him the ball.
And
Like,
I think that was my point that I was trying to stumble through beforehand was I mean
yeah,
they were betting on Rodgers declining, and they just got caught with their pants down. Like that's pretty much just what happened. The timeline matches up perfectly where it's like, okay, they can go one more year behind him and then he has an MVP season and go, all right, well, we can't bail out of this like at a peak, right? And then we have to go and change from there. Maybe like Kyler Murray being drafted at number 1 and not playing. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And then it's even worse now because there's all the talk about like Jordan Love not being there. Like people talked about how basically Jordan Love is like far behind his development of what they hoped. Like
Mhm.
this is the guy you traded up for. This is what really like broke the camel's back is when you traded up for Jordan Love. I know Aaron Rodgers is saying that it's not about the Love pick, but it is. It's about the Love pick. And he has every right to be angry about the Love pick. When you almost make it to the Super Bowl and then the next year your team decides that it needs to trade up to get a quarterback to replace you in the future, why what else are you going to do besides be pissed? Like
Yeah.
I don't know what Packers fans expect from Aaron Rodgers. Like Aaron Rodgers should request a trade. He should want out of the freaking city that doesn't appreciate him anymore. It doesn't want him there. Like it doesn't make any sense to me.
And he brought up that in the interviews as well. The only like faction or group he didn't like thank was the front office. It was the fans, it was the players, and it was basically the epitome of like I forget. I think the like teams and stuff forget about like what actually consists of them and what makes them so great, and it's usually people. And then he didn't mention the front office or anything at all, a la pretty much Jerry Krause and the Bulls type of thing.
Yeah.
Like literally almost page for page. That something I read that wasn't something that was unique to me, but yeah, very similar to that as well. Yeah, it could be the Raiders' death-like spiral. Yeah, I hope so. Like that would mean there'd be 2 rebuilding teams and one like that is a somewhat contender in the Viking. I don't know. The Vikings, they're not rebuilding.
Well,
they're just kind of there. They're the new Lions, I hope.
It depends. It depends.
Yeah,
Maybe Kellen Mond is there,
Check out the YouTube video. By the way, if you haven't liked the stream or followed by now, please give us a follow. We're on our way to 50 followers. I think we just went up to 16. So thank you for that. I think that might have actually come up. And almost to affiliate status. So thanks for that as well.
Yeah, thank you everybody. But
yeah,
and like this is the sad part too, is we're 2 Bears fans. Like we're 2 Bears fans arguing about how pissed off we are for Aaron Rodgers. Like it just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I agree. Like part of the problem is the not having an owner. There's all the like, love for like the own, for the team for like being owned by the people, and there's all that history there. And it's really, Green Bay is really not a big market as far as like anything goes sports wise or anything, but it's such an historic franchise and a storied, city and everything and relationship they have with the Packers that, I get it. I get all of that behind it. But yeah, not having an owner that can put his foot down and say, listen, I don't care what you have to do, keep Aaron Rodgers happy. Like that is part of the problem. I mean, that is part of why it's spiraled out of control, because you get guys that come in Gunta Kuntz or whatever the hell is their name is.
That was a good pronunciation.
And freaking LaFleur, who just are trying their very best to win with the team they have and prepare for the future, that like it goes against everything in football, even in general, like in sports, even like you don't you could prepare for your future all you want, but if you don't win a championship, like this is the conversation that we had in sports about the Philadelphia 76ers, how every year it was trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. You know, they're tanking for good players and it will be good. Don't worry. Yeah, well, where are we? Where are we? I mean, where are the 76ers? I mean, yeah, the 76ers are a good team. And Embiid was up for potentially an MVP trophy. Are they going to win it this year? No, they're not. I'm sorry. I don't care. 76ers fans out there, this is a big shocker to you. You're not going to win the championship. I don't know what to tell you. It's
All
not
10 of
happening.
you out there.
Yeah, it's not happening. So it's just and we're in the same ballpark here with the Packers again. It's just it doesn't make sense why you keep saying, you know, oh, well, we drafted those players because they're going to fit our scheme and my offense and my team that I want to build, and then you do that whole crap with the freaking Aaron Rodgers where you draft his replacement and you draft the running back and that is going to end up being a backup specialty back who's a power back, and then you draft a tight end who might play some fullback for you. It's just it doesn't make any sense when you have such glaring needs every year and you don't address them. Then don't be surprised that you don't end up getting it to the Super Bowl because I don't know what to tell you. You have an MVP caliber quarterback and you know, get him help. You know why Tom Brady went to the Buccaneers? Because the Buccaneers have a ton of talent and a ton of players. And you know what the Buccaneers did to help Tom Brady? They went and returned all of the players that he played with and then added some players in the draft.
Yep.
Like, you know, I just
They had something that was there and they needed one last piece that didn't absolutely suck, a la Winston, and they got him.
well, and like for instance, why aren't the Packers stretching the money to sign Leonard Fournette? Why aren't to help out Aaron Jones? Why aren't the Packers trying to take a chance on Antonio Brown? Why aren't the Packers, because they just don't help out Aaron Rodgers. I mean, like, why did the Patriots, what did Tom Brady do with the Buccaneers, or what did the Buccaneers do for Tom Brady? They went and got, Leonard Fournette. They went and got Antonio Brown to play in the slot. It's not like they needed another wide receiver. They had Scotty Miller, but they went and got Antonio Brown. Then they go and get Gronkowski. They make a trade for Gronkowski. They go and get, the guy to help him out. They had two tight ends on their roster. They had Brait, they had OJ Howard, who are both really good, tight ends. What did they do? They went and got Gronk because guess what? Get as many things as you can, get as many weapons as you can, and it shows out in the Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
Why don't players want to play
with Rodgers like they do Brady?
I think it's part like the team has to want you kind of thing too. Like players probably do want to play with Aaron Rodgers because getting the ball thrown to you, from Aaron Rodgers is going to be great. But it's one of those where if the Packers aren't willing to do anything about it, aren't willing to make the trades or make it happen. And yeah, Tom Brady is probably a little bit more, I don't want to say he's more liked around the league maybe than Aaron Rodgers, but Tom Brady is, doesn't have as much of the controversy.
Yeah, that's a way to put it too.
Yeah.
In fewer words, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, without saying what I was saying, that's basically, kind of why Aaron Rodgers is not as well liked. But it's also it does also have to do with the fact that the Packers just, like I said, every year their plan is basically how can we piss Aaron Rodgers off and how can we not get him help? Like it's just, I mean, this year they drafted a cornerback to replace, like they signed Kevin King. They have Jair Alexander. They signed Kevin King, who we talked about in our analysis breakdown of the NFC Championship as being like one of the worst corners I think I've ever seen in football. And then they re-sign him, and then they draft a corner to play across. Like, yeah, I guess that's filling a need, but like you had more like glaring needs than just the cornerback. Like, yeah, Kevin King doesn't help, in coverage and stuff like that, but it didn't help you in that game. But also kicking a field goal didn't help you. Also not giving anybody else for him to throw to for the love of God didn't help you. So like,
yeah, they just don't seem to ever want to take that chips all in move. Like I don't remember the last time they've had one of those. They've always been like safe signings, hometown signings, things that make sense, extensions that are very straightforward. Their line's always been good, so like good for that and all that. But they don't have those explosive, like, okay, this is it, like all or never. Like, we don't care about the money on the back end of this contract. They're winning a Super Bowl, or like they're blowing it up and we're moving on. Like, you'd think that would have happened like last year. You think that would have happened the year before that if they really thought he was declining. And I guess you don't invest in someone who's declining, but like he's even in a decline, he was still more than enough to win if they actually did those moves. But they didn't. And they never really, I don't remember the last time they've done that, to be honest. I'm trying to think of one. I really can't.
Reggie White.
Yeah,
Oh,
Reggie
God.
White.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I agree. It's just, it's unbelievable. It really doesn't make any sense to me why it doesn't. It just, it's not surprising again that we're here in this situation, and that it's boiling finally over, and you finally have an Aaron Rodgers that's like, you know what, I'm not putting up with it, because he literally had an MVP season. We're not talking about a washed up quarterback who is on his decline. We're talking about a guy who just had an MVP season. Like, that's not something that it happens every year. It doesn't, to like a team.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get, like, there's plenty of teams that probably haven't had an MVP caliber quarterback in maybe 30, 40 years. We're one of them. So, and then the fact that you have an MVP caliber quarterback at the age of what, 35 is absurd.
Yeah.